Hello, and welcome to this presentation on Distract, Dispute, and Inspire. My name is Dr. Mark Holland, and the purpose of stories is what we're going to talk about today. Before we talk about our lesson for today, I just want to share with you the larger picture of what this is a part of. I am the founder of the Business Brilliance Summit, the Business Brilliance Academy, the Business Brilliance Conference, and the Building Business Brilliance, say that 15 times, coaching program. And I'm glad that you're a part of it. Now, this particular lesson on storytelling comes from the third level. We have three levels of presentation within our program. We have the personal development, which includes things like mindset, health, emotional intelligence, finances, and such. We have business growth for those that want to start a business and need help in those areas. How do you automate your business? How do you grow your business? How do you increase your sales? And then we have the third component, which is leadership, which is communication and networking. Now, this particular lesson about storytelling comes from pillar number 3 on networking. Now, when we talk about the purpose of stories, it's a couple of things that are going on. Stories serve to distract, dispute, and inspire. And we're going to drill down on those three elements. And remember this as you develop your story. Everyone has their own unique experiences to share. And what you want to do is really drill down and get the emotional components of stories that you have that you want to share so that you draw the audience into your story. And as you draw them in, they can see themselves in your story. So in effect, it's not all about you, even though it is about you. It's about how what you have experienced can impact and disrupt what others may be experiencing, although it might not be the same thing that you're experiencing, but it's it's an element of that story that will connect with the audience. And when it connects, it allows you to draw them in. No matter where you go, if you're going to talk about storytelling, one of the most important elements is audience perspective. Now, what do we mean by that? We mean if you're going to a real estate agent's office, understand how real estate people think, understand the lingo they use, understand what you have in you that connect us with what's in them. So pretty much three things. Why should the audience care about your story? At the beginning, connect with them. Tell them a little bit about yourself that may connect with something within them, some personal story about not going too deeply, but about how you had a conversation with your wife or your kids or your uncle, something that all of us can relate to. And then there's an essential question that they're asking. As they're looking at you, they're saying, why should I listen to Mark Holland or whatever your name is? Put your name there. Why should they listen to you? So you're trying to establish credibility. So understanding your audience is a key component. And the way you do that is you do a survey before you go to the presentation. You arrive early. Once you get there, you talk to John over in the corner who's been with the company for 30 years. And you ask John, what are some of the hot buttons around here, man? What's going on? What are y'all excited about? What are you not so excited about? And so after you're able to do that, then you go up to your presentation and you integrate that. And isn't John surprised and doesn't he feel empowered when you say, when you're in the presentation, you say, I got a chance to talk to John. I understand he's been here for some years and we talked about so-and-so and this, that, and the other. And then you're building rapport with the audience. So why should the audience care about your story? Why should they listen to you? And the way you get that going is you understand who they are, excuse me, before you get there. Now, here are those key points we talked about, the breakdown of the purpose. Distract. Why do I want to distract? So I want to capture the audience's attention. I want to draw them into my story long enough to get them to forget about what they're going through. So if I can get you to forget what you're going through, if I can make you laugh, if I can even make you cry, if I can draw you in to what I'm doing, then I'm distracting you from your current situation. Now, once I distract you, there's another step. I want to dispute your current beliefs about your situation. Let me give you an example of that. I was in a situation where I was feeling pretty powerless, and I called. This was when I was in college, and I called my father, and I said, "Dad, I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I understand the work, but I'm not into what I'm doing here in college. I'm very close to," and I listed the whole litany of things, and he said, "Mark, what are you going to do about it?" So he distracted me. I wasn't expecting that question. I was expecting to be able to just complain, and he listened, then get off the phone. But once he asked me what was I going to do about it, he distracted me. He said, "Wait a minute, there is something I can do." And he disputed the current thinking that I had at the time was, I'm a victim. I'm 19 years old. I'm here in school. I don't have any power. I don't have any money. But he said, "Wait a minute, what do you want to do about it?" And then to get him off my back, I said, "Well, Dad, I think I want to go to Hampton University in Virginia." He said, "Good. I want to pick you up tomorrow at 6 a.m. Be ready." And I said, "What do you mean? I've already started school." Long story short, he distracted me from my situation. He disputed what was in my mind a fact, which was not a fact, that I was powerless. And then he inspired me to do something. He said, "What do you want to do?" And when I gave him something, even though it was something that was really to get him off my back, that's what it was. Even though that was the case, he used that to inspire me. And we went to the school. And long story short, I'd love to talk to you about the whole thing one day. We drove down to Hampton University the next day. I transferred schools. This is where I met my wife. This is why I have my business. This is why I was in ministry for 24 years. When I made that change from that one question, what are you going to do about it? It distracted me. He disputed the situation, and then I was inspired to do something different. That's how you want to utilize your stories. Now, many of you know, I'm sorry, you may not know, my mentor is Les Brown, and I work closely with him. And one of the things he talks to me about and talks to many about is how he was in the Georgia Dome and he spoke to 80,000 people. Now, before I get into that, let me give you the backstory. His mentor had to get him out of the bathroom. And this is something that he laughs about today, because when he looked out there and saw those 80,000 faces, he was terrified. And yes, the Les Brown you're thinking about. But I love when he shares that, because when I feel my butterflies, I'm like, wait a minute, my mentor, who's one of the greatest to ever have done it, felt the same thing. Now, that's a larger scale than I've been able to reach thus far. But our job is to do what he did. He came out of that bathroom. And by the way his mentor got him out of the bathroom, he said, "Do it for your mother." So he distracted Les. And then he disputed Les's current thinking that there was nothing he can do. And he said, "Do it for your mother," because he knew how much Les loved his mother. And he came out and did a fantastic job. And so when he got in front of these 80,000 people, what was his job? Remember, our purpose in every story that we do: distract, dispute, inspire. One person, 10 people, 50 people, 80,000 people, same purpose: distract, dispute, and inspire. That is our job, because we have to get the audience's mind off of us and on to the reason why we have them there, to pull them into a different reality, distract them from what they're going through, dispute the reasons why they're going through it, and then inspire those people. So this is one of the greatest examples in history of that. Now, again, that important element of understanding your audience. Now, we got to realize, just think about that previous slide where Les Brown was in front of 80,000 people. He doesn't know what their problems are. He doesn't know but guess what? The audience may not even know what their problem is, but we still have the opportunity to distract them from whatever's going on in their life right at that moment. Dispute whatever they're thinking. I'm powerless. I'm not smart enough. I can't do it. I'm the wrong color. I'm the wrong weight. I'm the wrong age. Whatever we need to dispute. And then we say, I'm standing here and I had some limitations in my mind that were not real, you may have that same thing. Let me talk to you about how I overcame. Let me talk to you about how when my father got me to go to a school, my whole life changed. Let me talk to you about how when I left a job that was keeping me down and I started my business, let me tell you how now I have a six-figure per month business. Let me tell you about this. And so you tell the people, as that normal guy, Mark Holland standing up here had the same had many challenges. Many may have been the same as what you have had, but you can do it. There's power in you. There's greatness in you. You're sowing into them that they can do it. And you know they can because you did it. You overcame. You saw. You conquered. You continue to do so. Now, as you teach different principles, I want you to remember that one of the biggest ways that we learn is by repetition. And so guess what I'm getting ready to tell you to do? Distract. These are just our simplified principles. Capture the audience's attention. Put some work into how you're going to open so that you grab their attention. I have this poem I love. It's by Benjamin E. Mays. I use it often, sometimes as an opening, sometimes as a closing, sometimes in the middle, but I have it with me. And I want you to think about somebody opening it like this. I have only but a minute, only 60 seconds in it. I didn't seek it and I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give an account if I abuse it. It's just a tiny little minute, but all of eternity is in it. Now, when I use that as an opening, it grabs their attention. Anyway, where is he going with that? So I distract them from whatever they're thinking about, the roast in the oven, the argument they had this morning, the kids doing something crazy. I distract them and I grab them. And once I grab them, I have to tell them something that's going to challenge limiting beliefs. And once I challenge those limiting beliefs, they might think that they're not smart enough. I might say something like, when I was in the third grade, and give you a story about how I, fared in the third grade and what was not working for me and what was working for me. Whatever your story is, you want to challenge their limiting beliefs because now you're the one in front. You're the one on stage and they can do it too. And then you want to inspire them. You want to give them a charge. Hey, do this. You were made for this. You were born for this. And you give them what they need to move forward. Now, as I said, the Business Brilliance Coaching Program, for those of you who I will have the honor and the pleasure of working with, we'll talk about a powerful story, how it engages the audience. We'll talk about the use of anecdotes and creating connection. Sometimes I use a poem. This poem is called, let me just share it with you. Two natures dwell within my breast. One is foul, the other blessed. The one I love, the other I hate. But the one I feed will dominate. Now, when I share that poem, it connects with people in such a way where they start thinking about how are they utilizing what they're intaking. Are they realizing that they have choice and that some of the things that they're watching or reading are not helping them? Are they going to make a change? So we want to engage them. I'm telling them that, listen, I may have reached this point where I'm able to assist you, but I have choice just like you do. And because of the choices that I'm making, just the power of telling a story, and you have that power within you. And I want you to be proud of it, but I want you to work it because it's a muscle. Storytelling is a muscle, and you have to be to the point where you're developing that muscle and you respect that muscle. And so I want you to be thankful that you have it, and then be a steward of it. Because when you're a proper steward of something, you treasure it. And you not only treasure it, but you grow it. So that powerful story that is within you, and there are many stories within you, but the wide wisdom is that people tell you that teach this, including my mentor Les Brown, is get your signature story. What is that one thing that people know you about? And Les's signature story about him being a DJ and being fired and how that kicked off his career, that is his signature story. Now, as you grow, you have other things, but you always stay close to that signature story because that's what is resonating with people. That's what got them in the seats. That's what got them in front of the TV. And so you use that, but then you use principles to help them to develop themselves. Why? Distract, dispute, inspire. Now, let's just talk about a few examples of distract, dispute, and inspire. Well, let's just drill down a little bit. Inspiring stories, when you're distracting, you grab attention. And I believe it was Eleanor Roosevelt. She said something that always sticks with me. She said, I don't know the secret of success, but I do know the secret of failure, and that's trying to please everybody. And so when I hear that, I think about what are some of the things that I'm doing that I'm not doing as well as I could because I'm trying to please somebody else. That's what it does for me. It may do something totally different for you, but the point is to distract your audience, to distract them and let them know there's something different. Dispute what's in their mind, share personal challenges and beliefs. One of the things that we go through in under pillar one, I told you there was 3 pillars in our coaching program: the personal development, the business growth, and the leadership phases. So under that personal part, we go into core values and talking about SMART goals. And we get to share there how you pull out these things. And then inspire. We want to motivate. I don't know what is going to motivate you, but I know what has done things for me. So I can tell you about them and I can weave them into my story. And as I weave these things into my story, oh boy, things are going to be transformative. That's one of the things that I do. I was a pastor for 24 years. And when I left pastoring, because I wanted to support my wife and what she was doing, what happened there was that I became a transformative speaker. So when I talk to people all over the world, it is my goal to transform them by doing these 3 basic things: distract, dispute, and inspire. And just as I'm doing that, you can do it. And I hope that I'm able to help you in my coaching program to do just that. Now, what we want to talk about now is tweaking your story. Here's the deal. Basically, every time I tell my story, even parts that I may have said over and over again, it becomes greater. It becomes wonderful. For example, the part of the story where I tell when I was leaving Baltimore and I was the baby and my mother and I dropped tears. This is connected to the story at the beginning that I told you about me leaving and going to Hampton University. You know what happened? I ended up calling my mother when I was 3/4 of the way to Hampton. And when I called her, I heard, "If you believe in love, let's get it on." So my mother had gotten into her older music and she had gotten comfortable. Her son was gone. So she was just fine. And that resonates with people. What is it within your story that's going to resonate with people? Because we're all connected and we all have different views. And some people are going to hear it from me, but there are many people that are waiting to hear it from you. So adjust your narrative to hit key points after you've done your study on the people and what they're doing within their firms or as individuals or as teams. You get to adjust your narrative, and then it's important to repeat, review, and reinforce what you say. In everything we do, we must measure. And so the metrics for this presentation are exactly what we started with. Distract. What captures attention? How am I going to distract this audience? Dispute. What beliefs are challenged? Are they limiting beliefs? Are the beliefs that I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too skinny, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that? What are you challenging? You've done your study and you're finding that out. And then inspire. what's going to motivate you into action. You can do better. There's greatness in you. Find the keys and bring them home. And in conclusion for this segment, and there's so many more segments that I hope you've enjoyed this one on distracting, disputing, and inspiring, but there's so many more I want to share with you, so many anecdotes. And I had the opportunity to go down to my mentor, Les Brown's home and interview him. And I just wanted to close with just a piece of what we talked about, because we talked for a couple of hours, and this is just a piece of that. And throughout the courses that I have are pieces of that interview that were impactful. So remember, as you do your story, distract, dispute, inspire. You can do this. You could be one of the best at it ever if you continue to practice. I want you to be encouraged, because there certainly is greatness within you. Look at this film coming up, and we'll talk soon.
One of the things that I think is very important, that when we think about the fact that we live in a culture where most people don't believe in themselves. Just imagine 12 years of so-called education, which is indoctrination. There are no classes on how to build self-esteem, how to find a sense of purpose and meaning in life, how to overcome the challenges of life. No classes on how to increase your sense of worthiness. I remember as a kid, I would hear constantly, Lord, I'm not worthy. And so what people do and how they show up in life is a reflection of what they feel that they deserve. So when the work that I'm doing and that you're doing and the speakers that we work with is distract people from the conversation they've picked up between the ages of 0 and 7 in the book called Learned Optimism by a gentleman who wrote this 26-year most exhaustive study on self-esteem. And he's from University of Minnesota, and he said the things that we learn, the conversations that we hear, the experiences that we have in the environment where we are, we pick up habits and behaviors and attitudes and our visions of ourselves that will follow us for the rest of our lives unless there is an interruption.